Hi, mighty companions. Anna Kujawa here, and we are doing practical and healing applications of a course in miracles, aka Miracle Roulette. What's it gonna be? Only Spirit knows, but Spirit does know. Okay, so there is something within you that knows exactly what you need to hear right now to bring you back to full peace and certainty and health and abundance right now. And that is within you. And we are going to give it permission to speak directly to you right now. How about it? Sound good? That's what we're gonna do. So before we do that, what we're going to do is we're gonna do like a 10-minute meditation where we go within and make contact with that part of yourself, okay? We're gonna make contact. We're going to initiate some communication with the divine intelligence within you that's just waiting to talk to you. It has all the answers, all the guidance, all the comfort for you that it knows that you need. So how about that? So if you haven't already, go ahead and close your eyes, and we are going to go within. And where is within? Within is where the idea of lack and loss is impossible. So take a breath, close your eyes, and just focus on your breath. We are going to practice the holy instant. And the way that A Course in Miracles teaches us to practice the holy instant is we take this moment right now and we treat it like it's all there is to time. This moment is it. This moment now is all that's happening. This moment now is all that has ever happened and will only be that which happens now. And let go of the past, remembering that it is gone. And we let go of the future, remembering that it hasn't even happened yet. And we allow our minds to come back home and land softly and gently in the right now, where you are. Feeling the now. Who are you right now? What are you right now? And what is happening right now? We are reacquainting our minds and bringing our minds back home to our point of power. Now, who are you right now? And what do you want right now? And as we tune our awareness to the present moment, let's also tune our awareness to the presence that abides in the present. Feeling for this presence, our divine intelligence within. Let's go ahead and initiate conversation, communication with this internal guide, this internal loving genius friend. This loving genius friend within that who, even when we ignore it, never deserts us. And let us communicate with it, saying, help me. You know my call for help right now. You know my call for love. You also know my strengths and my gifts. You also know why I'm here and my special function. And I ask you to decide for me what I hear from A Course in Miracles today. I trust your love for me. I trust your genius, brilliance. I trust your unconditional love for me. And that's why I ask you right now to decide for healing and peace for me right now. Be you in charge of this experience, this time, this gathering right now. And thank you, higher self. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I thank you in advance for your answers that I know I will receive. And to that we say amen. Take a breath and bring your awareness back. All right. Hi, everybody. Hi, Demons, Jean and Carol, all you guys, and all you guys here in the chapel in Ahihik, and also our friend right here, our friend who shows up. It's so wonderful. It's so amazing to be channeling underneath this image, this metaphor, this symbol. Okay. Behind every one of us is exactly one of these. You just happen to see one right now, but everybody has these beings that right around us, either right behind us or on either side of us or all around us, okay? And we only don't know they're there because we've stopped talking to them. We've been ignoring them. Now, they haven't stopped talking to us, but we have been ignoring them. All right, so today we're going to practice remembering that these beings, and lots of them just like it, are all around us, always speaking to us, always offering their guidance, their loving thoughts, their genius, brilliant, loving thoughts to our minds. That we might have the peace and joy that is our inheritance as children of God. How about that? Does that sound like a good use of a Monday evening or whenever you're watching this? Beautiful. Hi, Trisha. Lovely to see you. Hi, Julie. Julie's there. She says, hi, Anna. So glad to be here tonight. I'm glad to have you here tonight, Julie. Lovely to see you. All right, so here we go. I've got my random number generator app here, and I have put in 1 through 3. So that's text, workbook, and teacher's manual. So we'll see which book of A Course in Miracles that, yes? Oh, yes, a little bit. And then there's this finger coming up like this, and it is the teacher's manual. Okay, so I know there's 29 sections there. And so now we have, how about your innocent perfect little finger of God? Okay, 13. Lucky number 13. Okay, so now we're going to go to the teacher's manual. And dun, 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 teacher's manual. And guess who the teachers are, by the way? Guess who they are? And it was already on there, of course. Oh, that's it's the perfect section to cap off all the special relationship stuff we've been doing, in particular what we did last night. Remember, what was it? What was the name of the section last night? Something about looking at the special relationship. Okay, so that was Greg's and my last night's class, was looking at the special relationship. Okay, and so this section is, what is the real meaning of sacrifice? Oh, and that's perfect for after looking at the special relationship, because the special relationship, as in the hands of the ego, is the literally the pivot point of the special ego relationship is sacrifice. It pivots on sacrifice. It's the leverage in the special relationship is sacrifice. Okay, so we're gonna be sacrificing, but who's gonna be sacrificing more and who's gonna be sacrificing less? And that's the balance, and that's the tug of war and the competition that we're gonna be doing in the ego-based relationships.
Who can bargain the best?
Who can bargain the best? Exactly. Who gonna be the boss? What was that TV show about the boss? What was it? Remember the TV show? Something about the boss?
Who's the boss?
Who's the boss,
Yeah,
right?
who's the boss?
Yeah, who's the boss? Well, who's going to be the boss today? And it could be different each day. Who's going to have to... That's a special relationship, is we know someone's going to have to lose, because, we can't all have what we want all the time, right? Says the world. And so since the world teaches us that somebody's got to lose, you can't all have it all the time, right? I mean, everybody knows that. Duh. Somebody's going to have to lose. Who's it going to be, me or you? Sabrina goes, it's going to be you. It's going to be... Right. And so, now, of course, in Miracles is teaching us that real love asks and demands no sacrifice ever. So when you are getting an answer from truth and from real love, it never says, well, you gotta give up something and everybody's gotta compromise. Now if you go to a relationship therapist or a lawyer or whoever, first thing they're gonna tell you is, all right, now we're gonna work the deal. We're gonna figure out, how much each person has to give up.
If you're going to have the car, you're going to have to give up the boat.
Exactly. If you're going to have the car, you have to give up the boat. Exactly. Oh God. How much more money are we going to spend on the lawyers now? This is going to take forever. The lawyers are like, oh, yeah, we love that. Okay. So we're going to hear here, what is the real meaning of sacrifice? The world and the ego tells us that you can't have love or you can't have anything without giving up something. But what is the truth about that? Do you have to give up something to have something? Or is there some other option here?
Is there a way that everybody can win?
Is there a way where everybody can win? Is there a way that you can have all of what you want and they can too? Or is that just like serious...
That's not a real game, is it?
Bliss ninny mumbo jumbo thing that they tell you. So let's see. All right, here it goes. It says, although in truth the term sacrifice is altogether meaningless, the term sacrifice does have meaning in the world, indeed. The term sacrifice is completely meaningless in truth. But in the world, the concept sacrifice has lots of meaning. It has a big meaning. As a matter of fact, in the world's teaching, sacrifice and love are one. That's how deep, that's how much meaning the world gives to sacrifice. They say love demands sacrifice. You can't have sacrifice you can't have love without sacrifice, is what the world teaches you.
Or sacrifice and power are one.
Yes.
Sacrifice and winning.
Exactly. You can't win without sacrifice. You can't have love without sacrifice. The world teaches that love demands sacrifice. You want love, you're going to have to give something up. You know that, right? Like your freedom, your individuality.
You gotta make money, you gotta sacrifice your time.
That's exactly. You want to make money, you got to sacrifice your time. You want to have an amazing career, you got to sacrifice your family. In the world, in order to have anything, you're going to have to give up something. Okay. Now so in the world, sacrifice has a lot of meaning. In reality and in truth, sacrifice has no meaning. When you're talking about reality and in truth would never say, well, you're gonna have to give up a little something to have some. Truth, yeah. In reality and truth, your inheritance, complete fulfillment, demands no loss, no sacrifice. You can have it all right now, no cost, no sacrifice, no loss. Why? Because of who you are as a child of God, period. Any other questions? Says truth, says reality. Wow, boy, oh boy, what the world says and what truth says is the exact opposite. And so will the results be. It says, like all things in the world, sacrifice's meaning is temporary, and sacrifice's meaning will ultimately fade into the nothingness from which sacrifice came when there is no more use for sacrifice. Now, sacrifice's real meaning is a lesson. So in reality, it has no meaning whatsoever, but here in time in the world, we're going to use it. We need to use that term to learn something, and to learn something very important. Like all lessons, sacrifice is an illusion, for in reality, there's really nothing to learn. Can you imagine? When we get to reality, we're not going to be like, I'm learning some lessons. I'm learning, how you doing? I'm learning lessons. Yeah, that's what you've been saying. Yes, that's what I've been doing, actually, from the beginning. That's all we're doing here is learning lessons. There's going to come a point where we're not just sitting there learning all the time.
We're learning how it has always been forever.
Yes, exactly.
Well, welcome to the party.
Yes. It says, there will come a time where you're going to go beyond, I got to learn, I'm learning. There's going to come a time when all we're doing is creating. What would you like to experience today? I'd like to experience heaven for everybody. Awesome. Yeah, that's creating. Learning is like, I chose fear instead of love, and it hurt. Okay, I could choose once again. I choose once again. Oh, now I'm having joy. Okay, that's learning. And that's good, as long as you're still not accepting the truth, then the best thing you can be doing with your time is learning. How to be happy. If you're choosing not to be happy, the best use of your time is using your time to learn how to be happy. All right.
At least you got on the short.
Exactly. At least you like moving in the right direction. Okay. So it says, this illusion, learning, is a corrective device. This illusion is a corrective device, another illusion that replaces a first illusion, so both can finally disappear. The first illusion, which must be displaced before another illusion, before another thought system can take hold, is that it is a sacrifice to give up the things of the world. Okay, so the first illusion, the first mistake that we have to learn to give up is that it is a sacrifice to give up the things of the world. We were talking about that today, that we're still like, ooh, and then I'm gonna have this thing in the world, and then I'm gonna have this thing in the world, I'm gonna have a big house, I'm gonna have a boat, and then I'm gonna have a ministry in Mexico. You know, all the things of the world, we're like, ooh, and then I'm gonna have this, and I'm gonna have this much money, I'm gonna have this kind of career, I'm gonna have this kind of body, I'm gonna have this kind of da-da-da. And it says the first illusion that needs to be undone before another thought system can take place is that it's an illusion, that it is a sacrifice to give up the things of the world. So let me just say this. It's not a sacrifice to give up the things of the world.
Or quit trusting in the things of the world.
Exactly. So when you lose, and when you have to give up something in the world, you have to give I had to give up that relationship. Oh, it hurts. I had to give up that job. We heard a dear friend of ours today just learned that he got fired from his job because he wouldn't get a vaccine.
Right.
Well, you better believe that right now they feel like it's a sacrifice to give that up.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
You know, somebody leaves you, you better believe you're going to be feeling like that's a sacrifice to give that relationship up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and he's saying that it's not a sacrifice to lose or give up anything in the world. What? You know we don't believe that. That's why we're still crying when we lose things in the world. I lost that job, I lost that relationship, I lost that money. You know, I lost that, you know, power, fame, money, physical pleasure. That's the first lie that we're telling ourselves. You know, when people come to us and they're crying, I lost my job, I lost my mate, I lost my thought, I lost my money, I lost my car, someone stole my car, someone stole my jewelry, someone stole some money, someone broke into my house and stole my da-da-da. And they're crying because it feels like a big loss. It feels like a big sacrifice, you know. And this is saying that the belief that that's a loss or that it's a sacrifice to give up anything in the world, that's a lie. And if it's not true that it's a loss or a sacrifice to give up the things in the world, then what is it really? Well,
and what could you be possibly afraid of if nothing in the world could hold that power over you?
And that's, if it's a lie that to lose something in the world is really a loss, then what is it? It would have to be the opposite. It'd have to be a gain. It'd have to be a freedom.
Mm-hmm.
It'd have to be, the real meaning of sacrifice would be like, oh, I had to lose that thing of the world. Oh, something must be better. Something better must be coming.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now I'm not anchored into fear in the world because of that thing that that was around my ankle.
Correct.
Like our friend today, when I sent her, she told me her husband was fired. I sent her the message. I said, we're with you. How can we support you? And she wrote back, she said, it's for the best. And I was like, now that was a correct perception. She perceived correct. When they lost something in the world said, you got to give up your job. You have to sacrifice your job if you don't want to get a vaccine.
That's how you tell the universe what you want.
Right. They, instead of like, oh, good, we're going to do a lawsuit. She goes, it's for the best and something better is coming along. That's what she said. And I said, I agree. That's the truth. If the lie is it's a loss to lose the things of the world, what's the opposite? The opposite truth is somehow this is in your own best interest. Somehow now this has been removed so that something better can come along.
Can you imagine if we changed the way we talk and go, I lost lost my job today.
Exactly.
You did? Why you sound so excited? Because something better's going on.
Exactly, because now something better can come
I've been
in.
freed up now.
Now
obviously.
I'm free to receive what real happiness has been waiting to give me, but couldn't give me because I was clinging to this job that I hate. And it's like, let's just say, for instance, we're talking about the job, you know, with that job or that relationship, were you sitting there like, oh, thank you, God, for this job and this relationship every day? Hell no, you were complaining every day, and then you lose that job and you lose that relationship, and, you know, and then you're like, oh, loss. You know, you're crying at the loss of that when you weren't even happy with it. No, and so even when we seem to lose or it's taken away the thing that we weren't really happy with, we're complaining all the time, bitching and moaning, and then it's taken away, we still don't get it. Oh, wow, thank you. I've been released. I've been freed from that anchor. Now I'm free to have a job and a relationship that I really do feel happy in. Yeah. So he says the first lie, which needs to be unlearned before a better thought system can take hold, is that it's a sacrifice to give up the things of this world. Wow. So to lose something of the world is not really a loss. It's not really a loss. Now, if you're not seeing correctly and you're lying to yourself still, then you're going to go, oh, this is terrible.
Which is the way we've been taught to see.
And that's exactly the way we've been taught to see. That's the way we've been conditioned and programmed to believe. If you lose something in the world, that's bad. That's a loss.
Oh, I'll be praying for you.
Exactly.
For what?
When in truth, whenever you lose something of the world, you're losing an illusion. You're losing something that you had been falsely and vainly putting your happiness in that could never make you happy. You know, so let's say you've been in a relationship and your happiness was completely tied to that relationship. So every time there was a bump in the road in that relationship, you were devastated. You got to go to therapy, you know, contemplating suicide, you know, and that is a thing that you were investing your happiness in, meaning that thinking that this is the thing that was going to make you happy. In other words, you were completely investing your happiness in something that could never make you happy, something outside of yourself. And so the loss of that would be the best thing that could happen to you, because you had been investing your happiness in something that could never make you happy. So the loss of it's the best thing that can happen, because maybe then you'll go, well, maybe my happiness doesn't come from that person. Maybe my happiness and my abundance and security doesn't come from that job. Maybe my security doesn't come from that person. Now you see your whole way out. Because as long as you are believing that your happiness, security, your peace, your value, your worth is in something outside of yourself in the world, you are always gonna be scared and you are always gonna be insecure. You'll always be scared, you'll always be insecure, and you'll always be feeling a lack. Because if your happiness is out there, then it could leave any time. But if your happiness and peace and love is in here, well, as long as you got you, good, you got the source of your abundance and your happiness. So that person that we had been dependent upon for our happiness, that job, that money, that possessions, that power, fame, money, and pleasure that we had been we've been dependent on for our security and our happiness, when it goes, let's remember, that's not a loss. And when I don't remember, because in the moment it feels really scary, then let's help each other remember lovingly, okay? All right, beautiful. Hi, Serenity. Lovely to see you. Hi, Irene. Okay. Tricia says, he's so happy it's ski season. Okay. All right. Now, what could that belief be but a lie? That belief that my happiness is in this happening and this happening and you happening and we happening and happening like this and this timing. What could that be but a lie, an illusion? Since this world itself is nothing more than an illusion. All right. Yes, Irene says, can I ask what page? Irene, we are in the Teacher's Manual, section 13. And the name of it is, what is the real meaning of sacrifice? Well, and now we're going to be on paragraph 2. Now, is this a little bit different than what we learned about sacrifice when we all went to church or synagogue or mosque?
Only the opposite.
Oh, only the opposite. Yes. When we went to the church and the mosque and the synagogue and all our religious institutions, what did we hear? God demands sacrifice. You know, in order to show your love for me, God, you must sacrifice your freedom, your peace, your happiness. You must do what you don't want to do. Okay, and then we get into our relationships. Let's say starting with the relationships with our parents. What do our parents tell us? I love you. Now, here's what you need to change for me to love you. Here's what I demand that you do in order for you to receive my love, your parent. Here's what you got to do. Here's what you got to give up and not be yourself in order for me, your parent, to love you. Okay, great. Then we get into our relationships. Then what do we hear?
Same thing.
The same thing. The same thing, you know. That in order to love somebody, that you need to sacrifice. You need to give up. You need to compromise who you are, what you want, all of that in order to have a relationship. So what we hear about sacrifice in the world that we learned is the exact opposite from what we hear in A Course in Miracles. Okay, so either the Course in Miracles is of the devil or the Course in Miracles is true. And it's such a big disappointment for the people in our life who really, really wanted to believe that the Course in Miracles was of the devil. But then they kept seeing us get happier and more abundant and happier and more innocent and more abundant. They were like, well, of course the miracles is of the devil. Why did they just get happier, more loving, and more abundant and more fun all the time? And we like them even more.
Because heaven's going to let them be happy until he sends them to hell.
Oh, okay. Yeah, thank you. Exactly.
We'll have some happiness.
That's right. Tricia says sacrifice animal products.
That's love.
That's a sacrifice I believed I had to make to be happy and healthy. I can't eat animal products. That is a sacrifice I believed I had to make to be happy and healthy. But is animal products something in the world?
Yeah.
Okay, then it falls under the category of the world. All right.
No exception.
And then Tricia says, my diet sucks. Most people do. Most people do. Most people's diets do suck. I love you guys. I love it. Okay, that was only paragraph 1. Okay, you guys can handle paragraph 2. Okay, Course in Miracles, have mercy on us. Paragraph 2. It takes great learning, both to realize and to accept the fact that the world and everything in the world has nothing to give. Whoa. Wow. That would have been so call for God-ish if I had actually fallen backwards into the angel and then knocked the angel down on my head and then knocked me out and gave me a concussion. Film at 11. Course in Miracles teacher killed by a falling angel. Film at 11. Right as she was saying.
Now we're just a little more than a third of heaven falling.
I'd be famous. Finally, I'd be famous. Yeah, first Course in Miracles teacher ever killed by a falling angel while teaching Course in Miracles class.
Anna Kujawa makes an angel fall.
I love it. Okay, I know. Right after I said that sentence, my ego tried to send me all the way back there to have the angel crash on me and kill me. Yes, okay. That's the sentence ego tried to kill me on. It takes great learning both to realize and to accept the fact that the world has nothing to give. Wow. Now, what are the things that the world has to give? Think about it. Power, fame, money, physical pleasure, specialness.
Health.
Yeah, all the things that the world can give. Power, fame, money, physical pleasure, and specialness. Yeah, and health, security, love, all the things that the world can give. That the world has nothing to give. Dang. What do you mean? That anything outside of myself really has nothing to give me. It can't add to me. Anything outside of me, power, fame, money, physical pleasure, cannot give me or add to me anything. And oh boy, and that's why I said it takes great learning both to realize and to accept that fact. That's for sure. Because I really still do believe if I just had enough money, that the world does have something to give me. If I just had enough power, if I just had enough fame, if I just had enough physical pleasure, I do believe the world has something to give me. I do believe that there's things in the world outside of me that if I had, that it would be an advantage. It'd be better.
Right.
Whew. And it is taking great learning for me both to realize and to accept that fact. But every time something in the world seems to fail me, or I seem to lose it, or it seems to be taken from me, the real meaning of that is that now that's one less thing, that's one less idol outside of me that I'm going to falsely put my happiness in. That's one less thing that's going to disappoint me and break my heart again. Every time I invest my happiness in something outside of me, like it's got something to add to me, I am setting myself up for another massive heartbreak, another massive disappointment, in a dark night of the soul. That's one less trap that I set up for myself. Wow, so I'm sitting there crying, oh, I lost my job. I lost that relationship. And the universe is like, hallelujah. Oh, hallelujah. Wow.
It took us 3 months to orchestrate that miracle, and they're crying about it.
And they're crying, they're contemplating suicide. It's like, exactly, that's what Greg said. All of our angels and guides are like, oh yes, it took us 3 long months to orchestrate that miracle where they lost that thing in the world, and here they are contemplating suicide because of it. Here they are going into therapy because of it. Wow, and it takes great learning both to realize and to accept that fact that the world outside of us has nothing to give us, has nothing to add us, cannot make us happy or fulfill us. And how do we know that? Because every single one of us right now listening to this, and everyone we know has gotten something that they really wanted from the world. They really wanted. And what happened when they got it? Were they happy? Were they completely fulfilled? Were they blissed out forevermore? No. No. It wasn't but a few minutes. They're complaining about something else. Now they're complaining about how all that money that they won or they somehow got, now everybody wants some of it. Now all they have to pay is taxes. Now they have to have 15 accountants just to manage that money.
How much the gas cost for that big new car?
How much the gas cost for that big beautiful car that they just got. We know it from our own experience that nothing outside of you can make you happy and fulfill you. We know it. But yet we're refusing to learn the lesson. We're still like, well, the reason that relationship outside of me didn't make me happy was because it was the wrong person. The reason that car didn't make me happy is because it was the wrong car. And the reason that job didn't make me happy is because it was the wrong job. I just need to find a new job. When I find a new job, I'll be happy. You know, that's what we tell ourselves. Okay. Now, that doesn't mean we're not going to have things in the world. If you have a body, well, the body is of the world. And the body needs things of the world to live. So it doesn't mean you're not going to engage with the world and have things from the world. The difference is you're not going to be investing your happiness in it. You're going to be enjoying it and appreciating it. And when that thing in the world ends, you're going to say, thank God, instead of, go into a depression. That's the difference. And now you're using the things of the world instead of they using you. You're going to own the things of the world instead of them owning you. When you're not looking for those things and those relationships and the power, fame, and the money to make you happy, now you're using it for good instead of it using you for good, for its good. Wow. It says, yes, it takes great learning both to realize and to accept the fact that the world has nothing to give. Now, what can the sacrifice of nothing mean? I just gave up nothing. Well, okay, that's all right, right?
Was that a sacrifice?
Yeah, was that a sacrifice? I just gave up nothing. Is that a sacrifice? No. I didn't give up anything. Okay, good. Then that's good. So that's what you want to remember. If you are experiencing any kind of loss right now, or it feels like something or someone is demanding a sacrifice of you, oh, I have to give up. I have to sacrifice my freedom for this job. I have to sacrifice my freedom and my abundance for this relationship. If you are experiencing, or if you're experiencing a loss, like I just lost something that I wanted in the world, tell yourself, this is not a loss, even though it feels like it. Even though, just because it feels like a loss to me doesn't mean it's a loss in reality. Tell yourself that, even if you don't believe it. We know you don't believe it. But tell yourself the truth. Somehow, this is in my best interest. Somehow, this is in my best interest because I can't lose my real power. I can't lose my real happiness. I can't lose real love. So tell yourself that even if you don't believe it, if you are feeling a sense of loss or a demand for sacrifice in your life right now. Okay. Maya says, the irony, it's all about giving. I remember last week you mentioned it's all about giving in our relationships. Yes, exactly. We're all focused on, what am I gonna lose? What's being taken from me? What's being demanded of me? What do I now need to protect? Well, that's the opposite of, I have whatever I give. So if I just give whatever I think I'm losing, then I don't lose it, right? Right? Whatever it is that you think that is being taken from you could only be something that you're not giving. Because the way to have something is not to get it from the world, the way to have something is to give it. And then you realize you are it. But we're all like, I gotta get me some love, I gotta get me some power, I gotta get me some fame, I gotta get me some pleasure, I gotta get in order to have. You know, well, if you don't have to get to have, you just need to give it, then how could the loss of anything in the world actually mean a loss? What you have never came from out there. It always came from what you gave. Did you give love? Did you give abundance? Did you give power? What did you give? That's what you have. That's how you had it. That's how you got it. Wow. So whatever it is that you feel like you're having to sacrifice or lose or give up, remember that go ahead and give it. It don't matter to who. The only thing that is missing in any relationship or situation is what you haven't given. The only thing that is missing or lacking from this situation or relationship is what I have not given. So instead of like, they're not giving me their love, they're not giving me their power, they're not giving me the da-da-da-da. Forget about that. You were never getting it from there anyway. Just ask yourself, what would it take for me to start giving it right now? What would it take for me to start giving that love right now? What would it take for me to start giving the abundance right now to somebody else? Who around me needs some love? Who around me needs some support? Who around me needs some companionship? Okay. Who around me needs some strength? Give it. And then you realize, wow, I had it all along. Okay. Beautiful. Beautiful. Maya says, thanks for this, Anna. My sister friends said if she spends Christmas with so-and-so, she won't be able to spend Christmas with them because I'm unvaccinated. Okay, I see what you're saying. My sister's friend said if my sister spends Christmas with me, then my sister won't be able to spend Christmas with her family because she's unvaccinated. I want to believe there is something better for me. Beautiful. There you go. So the thing to tell yourself from this section, Maya, would be it's not a loss if such and such doesn't happen. All right, it's not a loss. Beautiful. Beautiful. And Maya, what do you hear from what you're sharing right there? What do you hear this saying about what you're saying? Okay. All right, we tell ourselves that it's a loss if somebody doesn't want to spend Christmas with me because I'm unvaccinated. Yes, that unless I sacrifice, if I don't want to get vaccinated, and I sacrifice getting vaccinated, if that's not what I want to do, then I will have to sacrifice friends and family wanting to spend the holidays with me.
And that's why the guy got fired today.
And that's why the guy got fired today. Our friend got fired. He wouldn't get vaccinated. So our ego would tell us that I have to sacrifice, I have to give up something in the world if I'm not willing to sacrifice, I have to give up something of value that comes from the world. And that's what the ego is trying to teach all of us here. And we have to tell ourselves that the truth, even when we don't believe it, and that it's not a loss to give up the things of the world.
It's a blessing.
That even though we don't believe it, we're scared, somehow that's in my own best interest, and somehow that is for the best. And help me to remember, Holy Spirit, higher mind, that my sustenance, my support, and my innocence does not come from them, that in the world. Help me to remember, Spirit, that my value and worth and innocence does not come from my family members, who are upset with me. Help me to remember, Spirit, that my support and my sustenance and my abundance does not come from my job. Please help me to remember that. I need that great learning to accept that. Okay. Thank you, Maya, for asking that very practical question. And yes, Maya, there is something better for you. Somehow this is in your own best interest. Beautiful. Hi, Monica. All right, here we go. Then it says this. Let's see. Where am I? Okay. Yes. What can the sacrifice of nothing mean? Well, it cannot mean that you have less because of it. There is no sacrifice in the world's terms that doesn't involve the body. So all that you think you got to give up to have something else, it's all about the body. You know, it's all something for the body. Power, fame, money, physical pleasure. Guess what that's all about? The body. Because it's the only thing that can be made to sacrifice, because it's limited. It's limited. This can lose. This can lose something. This can end. Okay? So all the sacrifice that we think we got to make, that the world seems to be demanding, is all about the body. And think a while about what the world calls sacrifice. Okay? Let's talk about what the world calls sacrifice. What is it that the world says you could lose?
Freedom.
You better be careful. You know, because you're gonna, it says, think a while about what the world calls sacrifice. Power, fame, money, physical pleasure. And who is the hero to whom all these things belong? The body. Could these things mean anything except to a body? Yet a body cannot evaluate, this is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad, this is a loss. But so by seeking after such things as power, fame, money, physical pleasure, things that benefit the body, by seeking after such things that benefit the body, the mind associates itself with the body. If you're seeking things that only a body can benefit from, guess what you must be? A body. Which means you will be identifying with your body and losing sight of what you really are. By valuing the things of the body, you think you are a body, which does what? Hides that you are a free, unlimited, eternal spirit. A deathless, timeless, free, everywhere, abundant, forever, always spirit. You can't value and seek for the things of the body and know yourself as an unlimited spirit. Guiltless, deathless, timeless, free.
Who has everything?
Who has everything forever.
That they need.
Forever. Who has everything it needs forever. What would your life be like if you actually believed that about yourself? What would your life be like if you actually believed you were a spirit, deathless, timeless, immortal, having everything you could need forever, no loss, ever?
Your life would be a life of great learning.
Yeah, yes, you would be in what we call heaven. And heaven just means a state of complete fulfillment and abundance. That's what heaven means according to A Course in Miracles. It's not a place you go through the pearly gates where they look to see if your name's on the list. Is your name on the list? Nope. Out. Bouncer, get that person out. Their name wasn't on the list for heaven.
It means a state of fulfillment and abundance?
Heaven is a state of complete fulfillment and abundance. That's how A Course in Miracles defines heaven. Yes. Beautiful. That is so deep. All right.
Love the teacher's manual.
Love the teacher's manual. Exactly. Now we're paragraph 3. So it says, once this confusion between our true identity as spirit and the body has occurred, now it becomes impossible for your mind to understand that all the so-called pleasures of the world are, what's the word? Nothing. Huh? Wait a minute. All the pleasures of the world are nothing? Come on now. How about that big old yacht, $10 million in cash and unmarked bills in the suitcase? Nothing. It says all the so-called pleasures of the world are nothing, period. Drop the mic. Just tell it like it is. Okay? That doesn't mean you aren't going to enjoy them, but you'll enjoy them a whole lot better if you know they're nothing. Because we know that nothing is easy. You know, that's nothing. Well, yeah, so we've already come to associate the word what is nothing with easy. You know, air, that's nothing. It's easy. Okay, so it's not saying we're not going to experience them, enjoy them, but if we think they're more than nothing, then we're asking ourselves to sacrifice the real everything. Okay, so it's not saying we're not going to enjoy them and use them. What it's saying is for us to remember what they are, to remember the truth about everything. That is nothing, and still our happiness is internal. Our happiness is inherent. It's built in. It was given. So it's saying that when you are confusing your spirit and your body, then it becomes impossible for your mind to understand that all the so-called pleasures of the world are nothing. But what a sacrifice, and it is a sacrifice indeed, all this entails. So the real sacrifice is not the loss of power, fame, money, and physical pleasures. The real sacrifice is if you're going to go for the so-called pleasures of the world to make you happy at the loss of the awareness of your true identity as a spirit that has everything forever and could never lose anything and only gain everything forever. Now that's a sacrifice. That's the real meaning of sacrifice. I'm going to seek the pleasures of the world while depriving myself of the heavenly ecstasy, complete fulfillment of the realization that I am happiness forever. Wow, that's the sacrifice.
That's a bad trade.
That's a bad trade. That trade will never fulfill you, even if you have as much as Bill Gates and Elon Musk and all the other cajillionaires that we don't even know of. Okay? So that's the real sacrifice, going for the so-called pleasures of the world while ignoring your true identity as a spirit who has everything and is everything forever, with no loss ever. Okay. And once you have confused yourself as spirit with the pleasures of the world, now has your mind condemned itself to seek without finding, which means now your mind has condemned itself to be forever dissatisfied and forever discontented, and to know not what you really want to find. Wow. Have you ever met people who are really rich and they were still like restless?
Seeking what they can't find.
Have you ever had a lot of the so-called world's pleasures and you were still restless and you were still complaining and you were still unhappy and you were still like, what's next?
Not me.
We got one liar in the corner. Okay. Wow. So as long as we are confusing ourselves with the body and seeking the so-called pleasures of the world, which only the body could want, then we are condemning ourselves to seek forever without being dissatisfied and forever being discontent no matter how much we have. Wow, I don't want to be like that. And I have been like that. I've had it all my life, and I was not content. I was still restless. I had it all. I was born with it all, and I was still like, oh, I need some more. I gotta get some more. I need this. Now I need this, and just restless. I had condemned myself to seek outside of myself and to be without finding, to be forever dissatisfied and discontented, not knowing what I really want to find. Wow. Yes, which is who I am and what I really am as spirit. Now, who can escape this kind of self-condemnation? Okay, would you like to escape that self-condemnation, that death sentence you put on yourself? I condemn myself to forever seek outside myself and to never be satisfied and forever discontent. Okay, that's a sentence we laid on each other, on ourselves. Who can escape that? Here's the only way you can escape that: forever seeking. There's another term for it, where you're just like a hungry ghost. You know, where you're a hungry ghost, where you're just like always seeking for satisfaction, seeking outside yourself, but you can never be satisfied. You're a hungry ghost. I've heard that term as applied to addiction. You know, addicts, or the experience of an addiction. It's like this part of you that can't ever be satisfied, seeking more, but can't ever be satisfied. Now, how can you escape that? You can only escape it through love's word, only through the truth. There's the only way to escape being a hungry ghost, forever seeking outside of yourself and being forever dissatisfied, discontented. The only way you can escape that is through knowing the truth. Knowing the truth about who and what you are. That's it. It's the only way. And when I say the truth about yourself, knowing who and what you are, I'm not talking about the truth you learned about yourself or the truth you made up about yourself. I'm talking about the truth about yourself that was established by the one who created you. Source love, infinite mind, your source truth about you is the only way you can escape from being the hungry ghost that has condemned itself to forever seek outside of itself and never have experienced satisfaction or contentment. Wow. It's like the workbook lesson. I am in need of nothing but the truth. Sometimes when I'm having that feeling of like anxiousness or restlessness or disappointment because something else outside of me disappointed me again, okay, I'll tell myself sometimes, I am in need of nothing but the truth. I am in need of nothing but the truth. What is the truth? What is the truth about myself? God, source, love, higher self, what is the truth about me right now? You're telling me the only thing that can satisfy me is the truth about myself? What is it? What is it, Spirit? I am in need of nothing but the truth. Well, what is it, Spirit, higher self, God, Spirit, Father, Mother, God, whatever. Okay? That's the only thing. He says, because self-condemnation is a decision about identity. And no one doubts what they believe they are. You can doubt all things, but never what you are. Wow. Okay. It's a long section. So let's take a breath on that. And let's take a breath. Questions, comments. Demi says, sometimes it's very foreign to have so much. But we don't know what's wrong during that unsatisfying period. That's right. We're like, wow, I have a lot right now. Why am I still unsatisfied? Usually loving words are missing in those types of families. Source love to the rescue. Right on. And then Maya says, the only real pleasure comes from living God's will for me in perfect happiness. I couldn't have said it better myself, Maya. Beautiful. So, questions or comments on that?
Well, it really is the opposite of everything we've ever learned and heard growing up. I mean, growing up, you better, it's always about how you need to sacrifice to acquire anything.
Yes.
And then once you acquire it, what you need to do is protect what you acquired.
Yes.
So that you don't sacrifice losing what you acquired.
That's right. Exactly.
Rather than being taught that you know that you have everything from the beginning of your creation.
Yes.
That you're not ever lacking anything.
Yes.
And I think it's what Sabrina was saying earlier today is we've got to catch ourselves. What are we calling out to heaven
Exactly.
for sacrifice?
Yes.
Which isn't true.
Yes.
For gratitude, being content with what we already have, and then seeing what the result of that brings us.
Exactly. Exactly. In any given moment, you can either be complaining about how what you were seeking for outside of yourself is not satisfying you again, or you can be focusing on remembering the truth of who and what you are right now and how much you actually have, which is everything.
And whatever
Forever.
mindset it sounds like is what's going to bring that experience around.
Yes, exactly. And that brings us a little bit to what we were talking about last night in our class. What is the real meaning of empathy? You can either empathize with somebody who's complaining about what they are experiencing, which is what they got, what they wanted, isn't satisfying them, and you can join in their complaint and their dissatisfaction. Or you can step aside and let Spirit remind them through you of how much they have right now. And how much they have to be grateful for, and how much abundance and skills and gifts and, how much they have to give right now that would remind them they already have it all. That's the true use of empathizing, empathy. Yes.
And both opposite mindsets are going to bring opposite results.
Exactly. Yes. I can so total. I have an Aries moon. I got a restless part. Come on, there's more. Come on. What's next? Come on. I got that restless part, and I can totally identify with what it's saying about what's next. Something outside me. Something next outside me. What's next outside me in the world will satisfy me and complete me and fulfill me. And then I get it because I'm a creator. I'm powerful. I'm a manifestor, just like everybody. What's our workbook lesson today? I will receive whatever I request. And he goes, you may think that it's saying that that's a good thing, but actually, I will receive whatever I request means you're going to be getting whatever you request. So...
You're not always asking for what you really
and
want.
notice you're not always asking for what you really want. So to say I will receive whatever I request is not, that's not the good news, that's the bad news. Yeah. Okay. Wonderful. So let's take a breath, and I'm going to go on to paragraph 4. Let's see what time it is. All right. I'm going to do at least one more paragraph, and then, okay. Oh God. I see that word the Course uses for the world that I never want to say out loud to people, because they would never read A Course in Miracles if they knew this is how the Course in Miracles talked about the world. But we'll say it anyway, because I didn't write the book. So, paragraph 4, it says, God's teachers, or love's teachers, anyone who wants to be a teacher of love, real love, love's teachers can have no regret on giving up the pleasures of the world. Okay. Great, that's a great goal.
Sounds so easy.
Doesn't that sound easy? Sure. I'm not there yet. That takes great learning to recognize and accept. And that's great learning we haven't done yet, by the way. It takes, yes. It says, love's teachers can have no regret on giving up the pleasures of the world. Because is it a sacrifice to give up pain? Are you saying that all the pleasures of the world are really actually pain? Yeah, you think about it. All the things that we were like going for and getting and going for. When we got them, did we give ourselves everlasting happiness?
No.
What did we give ourselves immediately? Pain. Like Greg says, we like sacrifice to get all the money, and then as soon as we got it, now we got to sacrifice and be afraid about how to protect it to make sure nobody takes it or we don't lose it. It's like, yes, exactly. So we got a villa. Yes, exactly. Love's teachers can have no regret on giving up the pleasures of the world. Is it a sacrifice to give up pain? Does an adult resent the giving up of children's toys? Does one whose vision has already glimpsed the face of Christ, the face of love, look back with longing on a slaughterhouse? Woo! I'll ask that again. I don't even know what you just said. Does a person whose vision has already glimpsed the face of reality, does one whose vision has already glimpsed the true reality of their true reality as a spirit who has everything, look back with longing on a slaughterhouse? In other words, when you remember the truth of yourself as a spirit who has everything and is everything forever, who can never lose any love, any power, any abundance, does that person look back on that job and that relationship where it was like a slaughterhouse?
Everything's conditional.
A slaughterhouse is a relationship or a job or a life where it's 100% conditional. You have love if you do this. You have abundance if you sacrifice like that. You know, that's what a slaughterhouse is. You know, to be yourself, you have to give up something. You have to give up to have that relationship, to have that money, to have that job, to have that power, fame, money, and physical pleasure. You got to give up your identity. You got to give up your freedom. You got to give up your love. You got to give up your innocence. Yes?
A slaughterhouse is you and the other cow. And you're so happy today because it was the other cow that was
Oh, God. Thank you, Greg. Thank you for explaining the meaning of a slaughterhouse. Really, it's true. It's good because that term is very shocking. You're like, what? Why do you just call the world a slaughterhouse? Again, and Greg's like, let me show you how it's a slaughterhouse. Greg's always really good for like the imagery. Greg says, here it is. This is the way it is in a slaughterhouse. Here you are, you're a cow getting ready to be slaughtered so somebody can have a hamburger today with cheese and bacon. and there's a cow next to you who's also in the slaughterhouse, and you, the cow, are just glad that it's the other cow's day to be slaughtered.
Not yours.
That's the way it is in the world, unfortunately. Okay?
At their sacrifice, your joy.
Exactly. In the world, everybody can't have it all. In the world, somebody gotta lose. Because in the world, lack is real. In the world, it's a zero-sum equation. Somebody gotta lose. The world is a belief system that's based on lack and loss. The world is a belief system that is loss is real, and for anybody to gain, someone has to lose. That's the belief system of the world. Right? And it's a slaughterhouse. It's a dog eat dog. kind of thought system, where for you to have something, somebody else got to lose something. And when you lose something, that means somebody else gains it.
In order for my racehorse to win, 9 others had to lose.
Thank you. In order for my racehorse to win, all the others had to lose. Now, that is, I love it. Demi says, OMG, Greg Quinn is killing it. Ha. Ha. I love it. Demi goes, haha, good luck, teachers. Villa, va va voom. Reality check, slaughterhouse. Demi, you are so funny, girl. Love it. So funny. That's great. Yes. So, and then the special relationship also has that belief system. And the belief system is the zero-sum equation where for someone to gain, somebody has to lose, which means what? Then a special relationship is a slaughterhouse. Who's gonna be the cow that gets slaughtered today? And then we push our partner forward. And then we put on shades. Maybe they won't see me.
Don't be laughing today.
Exactly.
I'm underweight.
But I love you, baby. I'm underweight. Oh. And then we make a sign, we paint a sign on the cow next to us that go, eat me.
Eat chicken.
What's that billboard for Chick-fil-A?
Yeah, eat chicken.
Where
Or chicken.
where the cows are saying, eat more chicken. And that's how it is in the slaughterhouse. In the slaughterhouse, the cows are telling people to eat more chicken, and the chickens are telling people to eat more beef. Oh my God. Course in Miracles. Do you see why not more people read A Course in Miracles? It really is not a positive thinking kind of thing. It's not like, oh, let's do positive thinking. It's like, yeah, well, the world is a slaughterhouse. Okay. And it says, no one who has realized that they are a spirit who already has all the love and all the power and all the life and all the life force energy and all the abundance forever. Nobody like that who's realized, who's even glimpsed that, looks back on the pleasures of the world with longing. Now, once you've glimpsed your true reality and how completely abundant it is forever, no lack, no loss, no sacrifice, now when you look at the so-called pleasures of the world that everybody's all hot for, you're like, oh, no, I don't want a boat anymore. No, I don't want a big house anymore. No, I don't want that big loan anymore. No, thank you. But have a good time. We don't look with longing anymore on the so-called pleasures of the world, all the things the world says you should want. Power, fame, money, physical pleasure. Wow. Then it says, yet you must rejoice that you are free of all the sacrifices which the world's values would demand of you. I'm rejoicing that I'm free of all the sacrifices which the world's values would demand of me. To us, the teachers of love who want to be free, we are sacrificing all our freedom. Like when Greg and I were like, we're going for A Course in Miracles, we're going to Mexico, Teachers of God, Course in Miracles. Our friends and family were like, you're sacrificing all your freedom, You're giving up all your freedom, To the world, it looked like we were sacrificing all of our freedoms. Remember that? Okay. To the world, when we say no to the sacrifice of false values that don't make you happy, to the world, we look like we're the crazy ones who are really making the biggest sacrifice. And then they go, we're worried about you. It says, and really to possess all the so-called pleasures of the world, power, fame, money, and physical pleasure, really, we would have to sacrifice our hope of heaven and our remembrance of our Creator's love to have all the values of the world. Who in their sane mind chooses nothing as a substitute for everything? So, what is the real meaning of sacrifice? It's the cost of believing in the so-called values of the world. Power, fame, money, physical pleasure. Something outside of you that would make you happy, that would fulfill you. That's the real meaning of sacrifice. It's the cost we pay of believing in the values of the world. That's the real meaning of sacrifice. In other words, that's the price that must be paid for the denial of truth. There is no pleasure of the world that does not demand the denial of truth. Wow. Because otherwise, the so-called pleasures of the world would be seen as pain, and no one asks for pain if they recognize it. Wow. If we recognize the truth, then we would look at all the so-called pleasures of the world, power, fame, money, and physical pleasure, and we would see it as it is. Pain, a setup for pain and disappointment and restlessness and dissatisfaction, if we knew the truth about ourselves. And we would see that that's the sacrifice, because to have all that, power, fame, money, and physical pleasure, I'm going to have to deny the truth. I'm going to have to deny the truth about myself. I'm going to have to deny my freedom. I'll have to deny my innocence. I'm going to have to deny my sinlessness. I'm going to have to deny my wholeness. I'm going to have to deny the fact that I am the love I seek. I don't need to go looking for anything or anybody to possess the so-called pleasures of the world. I'm going to have to sacrifice my truth, my real truth, the only thing that can really satisfy me. Dang. And no one asks for pain if they recognize that's what they're doing. It's the idea of sacrifice that makes us blind. We don't see what we're asking for, sacrifice of our truth. And so we're seeking for that in 1,000 ways, in 1,000 places, each time believing that it's there, and each time disappointment in the end. Quote, seek but do not find remains this world's stern decree, and no one who pursues the world's goals can do otherwise. Okay, so the stern decree of the world's belief system, or you could say the ego, the law of the land, ego land, the law and the decree of earth is seek. Seek and seek and seek and seek and seek, but do not find. Do not be satisfied. So if you're following the laws of the land, if you're following the ego's dictates, what the ego tells you you should want, what the ego tells you you should value, what the ego tells you you should do in life, then you will only experience sacrifice. Because the only thing the ego tells us to do is, I want you to go out there and seek all over the world, one situation, one relationship after another. I want you to seek your face off. But do not be satisfied, ever. I want you to seek for love, but I never find it.
But the con is we're never told it that way.
Exactly. Exactly. But the con is that we're never told, because the ego's never going to out itself like that. You know, so what is the ego saying? What is the world's value saying? What is the world's teachings teaching us? What is everything we learned from the past teaching us? Seek outside of yourself in the world's pleasures for your satisfaction and fulfillment. From the moment you're born, that's what we're learning. That's what we're being taught to do. Never do we hear, stop seeking outside yourself. Shut up, go within, child. All of your fulfillment and happiness and peace and joy is within you. You know, we're taught from the moment we, take our first breath in the body, seek outside you in the pleasures of the world for happiness and fulfillment. Okay, and but do not find it. Do not be satisfied. Wow. Okay, and he says, and anyone who pursues the world's goals cannot do otherwise, but seek their face off and never find fulfillment. Wow. Okay, how are we doing on time? Okay, well. All right. Okay, well, I'll stop there, even though it's so good. I'm on 6, and then there's 8 paragraphs. All right. How about if I just read them through quickly, just so that we can finish and complete this, and then we'll go on from there. Yeah, and if you guys, if it's going on too long, then just turn me off. That's okay. I've learned that it's okay if the world turns me off. I've learned to say that's not a loss.
And I've learned it's okay to turn you on.
And then Greg has learned it's okay to turn me on. It's very good.
We all have our own learning.
Woo! And that took great learning. Exactly. Now, when something doesn't turn me on, I've learned from this section to say, that's not a loss. Thank you. Somehow that's in my own best interest. Yes. And I'm learning from this too, that for the ultimate turn on that lasts forever with no cost is within me. Is within me. Oh, wait a minute. There's something that could turn me on, that's a pleasure, that doesn't cost anything, no sacrifices asked, and it lasts forever?
Yes, please.
Okay. That was a good answer. Yes, please. I'll have some more of that. Okay.
True,
Yes.
leadership.
Yes. Demi says there's no turning Anna K off. Thank you, dear. Correct perception. And then Bridget says, but to be in survival mode all the time is a distraction as well. Indeed. Exactly. Exactly. And like we were saying, just to stop seeking outside in the pleasures of the world, power, fame, money, physical pleasure, for your abundance, your security, and your love, doesn't mean you won't have those things. All it means is that you'll actually be able to enjoy them without hurting yourself, without making yourself more disappointed by them. You know?
Fear of loss.
Yes. How much better are you able to use your relationships and your money and your job and your everything when you're not afraid of losing it? When you're not afraid of losing your relationship, you give it so much joy and love and appreciation in your job and money. When you're not afraid to lose it, then all you're giving it is love and appreciation, not fear. You know, so if you're afraid to lose your relationship, what are you giving your relationship?
Fear.
Fear. When you're afraid to lose your job, what are you investing in your job? Fear. What does fear produce? More fear. And loss. And loss and pain. Exactly. And if I am not afraid to lose my job, if I'm not afraid to lose my relationship, because I wasn't seeking my happiness through it anyway, then chances are good I'm not going to lose it. And I'm not going to be putting my happiness into it. All right.
You're not going to be putting everything in that in bondage. Your employer, your
Yes.
co-workers,
Yes.
you release them. And
Yes. If I'm not afraid of losing my job, I'm not going to be putting my employers, my employees, my co-workers in bondage to my fear. Exactly. And then my job won't want me to leave. Like, please don't leave.
You're the only one here that's good to work with.
Please don't leave. You're the only one here who it's a pleasure to work with. Here's an interesting sentence for us Course in Miracles students. Okay, here's one for you, Course in Miracles students. Ready? You may believe this Course in Miracles requires sacrifice of all you really hold dear. I don't want to study a Course in Miracles. I'm going to have to sacrifice everything I hold dear. Like power, fame, money, and physical pleasure. In one sense, it's true. The Course in Miracles does require sacrifice of all you really hold dear, because you have been holding dear the things that crucify you.
What you're putting your trust in.
Yes, it is true. The Course in Miracles does require you sacrifice all you hold dear. And by the way, all you hold dear is stuff that has been hurting you. So it is true. And it's the Course in Miracles' aim to set you free. I have been doing what? I've been holding dear the things that crucify me, and A Course in Miracles' goal is to set me free from that. Stop valuing the things that crucify you. Stop valuing the things, clinging to the things that hurt you and frighten you. But do not be mistaken about what sacrifice means. Sacrifice always means the giving up of what you want. And what, oh, teacher of love, is it that you want? You've been called by God, and you've answered. You've been called by God, and you answered. So what, oh teacher of love, is it that you want? Well, I've been called by God, and I've answered, but I would like a new Mercedes-Benz. Oh, teacher of God, is that really what you want? Just a Mercedes-Benz? Come on now. You've been called by God. Don't you want to have all that? Would you now, you've been called by God and you have answered. Would you now sacrifice that call just to get some stuff from the world? Few have heard God's call as yet, and those few who have heard it can but turn to you, O teachers of love. There's no other hope in all the world that they can trust besides you, O teachers of God, who have answered the call. Are you sure you only still want a Mercedes? You've been called by God, you've answered, and the few who've also answered, they need you. They need you. Okay? So, what do you want? Do you want to answer them and help them, or do you want to go for more pleasures of the world that can't satisfy you? There it says, if you're going to sacrifice your truth, guess what? They will stay in hell. And if they stay in hell, guess what? You're going to stay in hell with them.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So what, oh teacher of love, do you want? Do you want the things of the world, or do you want to answer the call and take your place among the healers of the world? Which one do you want? What do you want, oh teacher of love, oh healer of the world? Do not forget that sacrifice is total, which means there's no half sacrifices, which means you can't give up heaven only for yourself. You can't be a little bit in hell. It's like, I'm a little bit pregnant. No, you're either all pregnant or you're all not pregnant. You can't be a little bit in hell. It says, what does it say? It says, sacrifice is total. It's like, well, I'll just sacrifice a little bit of what I want. No. It's all or nothing. It says the word of God has no exceptions. It is this that makes the word of truth holy, which means beyond the world. Okay, beautiful. I'm going to stop there. All right. So fun to read the truth. All right, let's take a breath. Hi, Daniel, love to see you. Hi, Robert, lovely to see you too. Lovely to be sharing, listening to the word, to the truth with you guys. What a miracle. And same with you guys here in the chapel of love. All right. So, quick questions or comments before we go on to announcements and the integration meditation. What do you think you heard in this today?
I heard that I'm not my body.
You heard that you are not your body. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Every time I look for my happiness outside of me, I'm going to be disappointed.
Every time I look for my happiness outside of myself, I'm going to be disappointed and dissatisfied. Beautiful. I heard the only thing that can satisfy me for real, and it's my truth within. And I also heard, if I'm experiencing any kind of dissatisfaction or disappointment right now, I heard the explanation of why. Okay, so anywhere you're experiencing any kind of disappointment or sacrifice or loss, this told us what's really going on, what's really happening, and another way to look at it that will enable you to escape from the slaughterhouse that is the values of the world. That's what I heard. And Bridget says, I heard, I need not sacrifice, just receive the gifts of God. My will is God's. Beautiful. Okay. So, and what is the name of the section again? Oh, yes. What is the real meaning of sacrifice? And so this is a good section to go over whenever you're experiencing any kind of feeling of, I've got to give up something to have something. I got to sacrifice to have something that I want. This is also the best section to listen to if you feel like something has been taken from you. If you've lost something, did you lose something, or it seems like something was taken from you, like our friend whose husband seemed like his job was taken from him, like he had to sacrifice his job for something. Wherever it is in your life where you're feeling like you're going to have to sacrifice who you are and what you really want in order to have something that the world tells you you need to have, or something you thought you wanted in the world. So this is a wonderful section to work if you are experiencing any of those things. Okay, beautiful. All right, so we're going to stop there. And announcements real quick are, so Sunday, Greg and I do Transforming Relationships Through A Course in Miracles, Facebook here. Mondays, this class, Healing and Practical Applications of A Course in Miracles, and Tuesday, Greg's Course in Miracles class, here at the Villa in person, and Facebook, 6 p.m. Central Daylight Time. I think that's what time zone this is. Close enough. Yes. And then here at the Villa on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Ecstatic Dance, and Wednesdays 7 p.m. Ecstatic Dance here at Villa de Angel in Ajijic, Mexico. Whoop, whoop. All right, and those dances have been wild, amazing. So that's what's going on here, and thanks for joining. So now let's do, Carol says, will you do the Christmas section? Yes, that's a great idea. That's a great, thank you for that. So next Monday, or whatever is the Monday right before Christmas, I will do the Christmas section, which, funny, you know what the name of the Christmas section is in the Course in Miracles? It says, Christmas as the end of sacrifice. It goes, let's talk about the real meaning of Christmas. And the real meaning of Christmas is that it would be the end of sacrifice. And then it gives some wonderful application formulas for the doing of that. How to release each other from the demand of sacrifice, so that you can release yourself from the demand of sacrifice, remembering that real love and real happiness never demands loss of any kind. Real love always says, let's ask for the answer where we both have it all. That's what real love says and does. So thank you for asking for that, Carol. That's wonderful. And you guys maybe help me remember that also. Okay, beautiful. All right, well, let's do just a couple of minutes of integration meditation, and then that'll be it. Okay, close your eyes, take a breath. Okay. Beautiful. I want you to bring to your awareness a situation or a relationship in your life right now where you are experiencing some dissatisfaction and some disappointment. And I also want you to bring to your awareness a place in your life where you feel like you have lost something, or something has been taken away from you, and it feels like a loss. It feels like you're being demanded that you have to sacrifice something in order to have something. I want you to breathe. And now we are going to speak the truth upon it, even though we don't believe it completely. And we're going to say to ourselves that this is not a loss. And now let's tell ourselves regarding the situation, somehow this is in my own best interest. And breathe. Tell yourself, it is not a loss. It is not a sacrifice to give up the things of this world. And tell yourself, this so-called loss is now opening up space to receive, to remember what I already have within me right now and forever. Now I want you to ask yourself, what is it that I think that I'm losing in this thing that I've had to sacrifice or lose, or that's been taken away? What is it in that relationship or that job or that situation, in essence, that I think that I'm losing if I have to give that up? Is it security? Is it love? Is it worth and value? Is it power? Is it fame? Now I want you to ask your higher self within, Higher self within, please show me that I do not need to seek outside of myself in the world anymore to experience the love, the happiness, the security that I thought I was getting from that I was seeking in that job, that relationship, etc. Show me. And then tell yourself, I am in need of nothing but my truth. For only my truth will ever satisfy me for real. And Spirit, help me to recognize and accept my truth that lives within me. Spirit, in this holy instant, remind me of my inner truth, that I am a spirit, unlimited, eternal, having everything forever, free forever from every limit or lack or loss. Show me that what I am, I have forever. Higher self, please show me how to stop seeking outside myself for happiness today. Show me how to look within for fulfillment and satisfaction and love today. Teach me how to do that. I know it takes great learning, and I'm willing. Show me how to seek not outside myself today. For the security, the love, and the peace that I desire right now. That's what I really want right now. I just remembered. I just want peace. I just want to be happy. And not because of anything outside myself, but because of who I am and what I have forever. Beautiful. And then just take a breath and bring your awareness back. Beautiful. You guys, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for joining this healing circle and bringing and adding your precious, beautiful energy into this healing circle. I appreciate you so much. Thank you guys so much for bringing your beautiful, precious energy into the circle. And I love you guys, and I'll see you next time I see you.